Shalom. This is Antimessiah 1, and this is End Times Prophecy Watch, where we'll be watching the unfolding of Yahweh's End Times prophecies to see how they pertain to us today and what it means for us tomorrow. So, welcome. And what we're going to do, we're going to pick up from what we left off last time, where we looked at the anti-Messiah, who people call the Antichrist. But we don't deal with Christ, we only deal with the Messiah. And he is the anti-Messiah. He's also the false prophet. So we looked at him in the previous study in view of the book of Revelation. And now we're going to look at his character and his personality to rule out who he is not. Because there are many people out there that are declaring this person to be the anti-Messiah and that person is the coming anti-Messiah, and they're all wrong. Once you understand once you understand the character and the personality of this creature, then you can definitely rule out the popular opinions. All right? Those people that many of our brethren are claiming to be the anti-Messiah, we can rule them out. All right? So let's get started. Now let us delve deeper into the truth about the anti-Messiah to understand who this evil character will be based on the scriptures. There are many speculations amongst Christians and even amongst our brethren as to who this person is, based on erroneous understanding, erroneous teachings. And because a large number of people are claiming that this person is the anti-Messiah, everyone jumps on board. This is how you are easily deceived. You're easily deceived because you think the greater number of people cannot be wrong, when in fact they are wrong. If you look at the evidence in the scriptures yourself, you can quickly rule out all these people that are declared as the anti-Messiah, right? So they are claiming these persons based on erroneous understanding and popular opinions. So many people out there, they have their opinion as to who this anti-Messiah will be. All right? If anyone thinks that this evil entity is well known to the public, then this is mega mistake number one. He is not known. Okay? He's going to be fresh face on the scene. But his family lineage will be known, because he is going to be connected to some very powerful families on this earth. He's part of the 1% of the elite. But he himself will not be known. Right? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me stop. Many people are pointing their fingers to specific persons who are either ex-presidents or other political figures or that religious leader in the Vatican, who are always in the mainstream media news. This character is not in the news. Not yet. Okay. Although this knowledge is far from the truth, the real truth is that this man of wickedness will have political power, even connected to any of the ex-presidents. He's going to have connections to them because they're all connected anyway. They all came from the same wicked lineage. Yet at the same time, he will show himself to be a strong religious leader as well. He's going to come across as strongly religious. This will enable the anti-Messiah to cross boundaries in order to attract many people from all spectrums of society. So he's going to have a strong connection to religions, to the religions on the earth. He's going to have strong connections to people in politics, because he himself comes from family, an old family that are connected to other families in the political arena. Even the ex-presidents, he's going to be connected to them. He's going to be connected to old money. All right? This sinful creature will have even greater power than that of well-known powerful leaders combined. So if you put all these presidents, ex-presidents that you knew or you know of, and you put them all together in one container, and the power that they had, and some power that they still have, if you put it all together, this sinful creature, the anti-Messiah, will be greater than all of them combined. That's how powerful he's going to be. Yet, he will come into this power through being possessed by a Satan. Yes, he will have a little power because he comes from old money. He's connected at the roots. But the true power that will cause him to be elevated in this world will be the satanic power that he will be possessed with. Remember, he will be possessed by a Satan, and a Satan is a general of the fallen angels. All right, there are 5 generals, 5 Satans. One is locked away, that's Azazel, and there are 4 roaming the earth. So he will be possessed by one of them. He's not going to be possessed by a Nephilim spirit or an unclean spirit. He'll be possessed by a Satan himself, the strongest of all the evil spirits. And that's where he is going to get his power, the ultimate power from. His family members, they're possessed with demons, so devils, even fallen angels, but they're still lower than a Satan. So that's why he's going to be more powerful than they are. This anti-Messiah will also have the family background connecting him to the powerful families on the earth, because all of these powerful families that you see, the old ancient families that have passed their money and their bloodline from one generation to another, they're all Nephilim. All right? That's why they keep it amongst themselves. But they're all connected together. Doesn't matter what country they're living in, they're all connected to each other. That's the reason why they live in different countries, because they don't want anyone to know their secret, that they're all relatives of each other. All right? But it will be Satan's power that will ultimately put him ahead of the pack of rats, the Nephilim bloodline that are running this world today. Instead of looking at a person, we will look at the character of this person and his personality, and clearly we will see that based on our findings, that they will not match anyone currently known to the public. Bearing this in mind, that although he may not be known to us, this does not mean he is not already here, because he is. He is here, but in the shadows, waiting for his time to rise up. We know that we're at the end. And when I say at the end, the beginning of the end, I should say. Because the beginning of the end is when the southern kingdom is taken up, and this beast empire and this anti-Messiah is going to rise up, and then they're going to wage war against the northern kingdom. All right? And when that occurs, then the 7-year clock will begin to tick. All right? 7 years left on this calendar for this earth. So he's waiting for his time to rise up. So if he's not born yet, then he will have to be some sort of miraculous baby that will grow from a pod to an adult in no time. No, he's here already. He's in the shadows. He's in the background. He's pulling strings. But he's not allowed to rise up yet because it's not his time. Allah still has control over what they can or cannot do. It's just like the beast empire cannot rise up, but we can see its evil influence in this world. They're talking about it left, right, and center, but they can't rise up and take their place because Allah has a schedule for them. He has a calendar, and nothing is going to take place ahead of its time, ahead of his timing. All right? He's not known to us, but he's waiting to rise up, waiting for that key moment when Al Hayam said, "Okay, now you can go." Right? The prophet Danayal has given us some clues as to as to his evil personality and his evil character. So let's look at Danayal chapter 11 verse 32. And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt by flatteries, but the people that do know their Alahayam shall be strong and do exploits. Now, when you start from Danayal, that's the book of Daniel, chapter 11, from verse 1, is going to read a particular series of events that have already taken place. It didn't take place during the time of Danayal, but it has already taken place. And that is the rise of Alexander the Great. So let's read on, and so we will understand what this verse is, and then I'll share something else. At the beginning of this prophecy by Danayal, he was letting us know the history behind Alexander the Great and his demise, the rise of his four generals. Well, Alexander, when he died, he did not have any children. So his kingdom, because he was like a king over the Greek Empire that conquered the Medes and Persians, it was divided amongst his four generals. All right? And there was warfare between two of his generals, in particular, the king of the north and the king of the south. So most of Danayal chapter 11 tells us about all that was going on between these two kings that were warring against each other. All right? But somehow, in the midst of this chapter, there's a peculiar bit of information, some verses. Okay, let's read on. Yes, we can track this in our history, meaning the history of Alexander the Great and his four generals. But what we have to understand is that prophecy can also be twofold, and the middle portion of this prophecy helps us to see the true nature of a leader possessed by a Satan, even though it was someone from this past. So even though this middle portion is connected somewhat to the nature of the kings of the north and the south, however, there's still indicators amongst these verses to allow us to know that the particular king spoken of is not the king of the north or the king of the south. Although you can apply the character or the characteristics to them, however, because of certain language, we know that it is speaking of a particular king to come. Not in their era, but a distant era. All right? And that's why we have to read and look for the language and understand what the prophecy is speaking to us. And we can only do so through Ruach HaKodesh. Now, this information is still very relevant. Sorry, yes, even though, okay, let me read that again. Yes, we can track this in our history, but what we have to understand is that prophecy can also be twofold, and the middle portion of this prophecy helps us to see the true nature of a leader possessed by a Satan, even though it was someone from this past, right? From meaning the past where the generals took up their positions as kings and then they were fighting amongst each other, all right? This information is still very relevant for us today as Hamashiach extracted verses of prophecies by the prophets of old to show its fulfillment in his day. So we know that Hamashiach oftentimes, if you go to Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, in the book of Yochanan, you will see that oftentimes Hamashiach will extract certain prophecies that were fulfilled in his time, in his day. All right? And he didn't extract the entire chapter, he just extracted a verse or verses to show us that this particular prophecy has been fulfilled. And that's the way how we have to look at prophecy, the way how Allah Hayam speaks through his prophets, through his servants. There are prophecies within prophecies. All right? Sometimes the prophecy is twofold or threefold. And we will not know what it is until Ruach HaKodesh explains it to us, brings the interpretation. And then we will understand. So we are going to look at this middle portion, which starts from verse 32, and try to discern the character and the personality of this coming king. Now, the first thing that we have to do about the anti-Messiah, to understand about the anti-Messiah, is that he will not be a fool. Not like the foolish ones that you see call themselves presidents today. They're ignorant. And they were chosen for this position to create chaos and confusion and division. Back in the day, when someone ran for presidency, it was a very educated person, someone who came from being a lawyer or someone with some strong political connections. But now today, any fool can run for presidency, to be a president. Look at the ones that have been in the news recently. Listen to the things that they're saying. Do they sound like they're educated? But that's all intentional. If you think that this is because of failing mental health, you're wrong. This is all intentional. All right? This is all intentional. They got to keep us entertained by the buffoons so that we can't pay attention to the things that they're really doing in the background. This anti-Messiah will be very educated, a smooth talker, so much so that he will corrupt by flatteries. He will be able to corrupt people with sweet persuasion. When this man opens his mouth, honey is going to fall out. But there's more. He will come against the covenant of Allah Hayam. And this will have to be the true worship of Abba, Ha'Abba, and his people, the northern kingdom, who will be his worshippers, because the southern kingdom is gone. The only people that will be left on the earth that will be a threat to this anti-Messiah and his kingdom and his empire will be the northern kingdom. He's not worried about the Gentiles, not even the ones that belong to Allah Hayam, because they're not going to have the kind of power that the northern kingdom will have. But we're going to see something about that too soon. So he is going to corrupt people on the earth to turn them away from Allah Hayam through flatteries. That's how he's going to corrupt them. He's not going to corrupt them with riches. He's going to corrupt them with paganism, idolatry, telling them you don't need to obey the commandments. You can live as you want to live. You can do what you want to do. If it feels good, do it. That's going to be his motto. If it feels good, just do it. It's already in the world anyway. But he's going to implement it. Give people permission to sin. The rest of the world, except the Gentiles who belong to Allah Hayam, will be corrupted, defiled by his smooth talk. And although he's not too concerned about the Gentiles, he's going to take for granted that all of them are going to fall under his spell. But the ones that belong to Allah Hayam Yahweh will not be defiled. Allah Hayam and his power is going to keep them. They're not going to be able to keep themselves. And you're going to have to call on him and cry out to him for him to keep them every step of the way. They're not going to be defiled by his smooth talk. They're going to know that he's a liar. But they wouldn't be able to do anything against him. Not like the northern kingdom. So they're going to have to depend on Al Hayam to preserve them. And he will. He will lead the people away from the worship of Al Hayam to pagan worship, the worship of the image of the beast. Remember what we looked at before. He's going to cause the people to build an image for the beast, which is the empire. The empire is going to have its own little icon, a little own idol, an image that represents it. No matter where you go on this earth, you're going to see this image. No matter what country in this world, you're going to see this image. The whole world will have to worship this image, and this image will have a mouth to speak. It doesn't matter where it is, because it's going to be possessed with demons. So all the images will be possessed with demons. And it will speak, and it will declare who worshipped it and who did not. And don't forget, its servants, the foolish people that bow down to it, they will also proclaim who did not bow down and worship this image. Just like in the days of Danayal, when the king built a statue, and every time you hear the music, you had to bow down and worship it. But Danayal said, I'm not bowing down to that thing. All right? Every time they play music, you bow down and worship. It's going to be like the same thing. They play a certain song, you bow down and worship this image. And people be watching to see who's doing it and who's not, because they're going to get little perks when they go and tattle on other people. They're going to be the talebearers. They're going to have their little spies everywhere to see who will bow down to this image and who will not. Okay. As I've stated in the previous studies, the Northern Kingdom will war against this Antimessiah and the Beast Empire, and they will inflict some damage, but these beasts will prevail against them. So I will have more information on this in another study. So let's continue on about this Anti-Messiah. I'm just showing you that these particular verses in Danayal chapter 11 pertains to this Anti-Messiah. So let's look at chapter 11 still, verse 33. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword and by flame and by captivity and by spoil many days. Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries. The Northern Kingdom will wage war against the two beasts. Speaking of the Beast Empire, number 7, and the Anti-Messiah. Allah Hayam will raise up leaders that will teach his people the truth about his kingdom. So when the Northern Kingdom is awakened, the Southern Kingdom is already gone. Remember, the Southern Kingdom had to learn through revelation by Ruach HaKodesh who they were and who Allah Hayam is. They had to learn about their true identity through revelation. And then Ruach HaKodesh led them to the scriptures to show them the proof. And then started to teach us about the ways of Allah Hayam Yahweh, how to obey his commandments, why we need to obey his commandments, why we need to walk in them. So he's going to do the same things with the northern kingdom. He's going to raise up leaders and he's going to empower them by his Ruach HaKodesh. In fact, his people will be empowered by his Ruach HaKodesh. But these leaders will have great understanding, great knowledge, because they're being groomed for a time such as this to teach the people the truth. Right? And yet, many will fall by the sword, by flame, and captivity. Remember, they're going to war against these two beasts, but they will be prevailed against. It's not meant for them to win the war, but they will still inflict some damage. That's in the study about the seven heads. And then there's a study after that dealing with the head that was wounded. All right? That's the northern kingdom. All right? They will be helped with little help, or hoping with little help. They'll be given assistance. Alahayam Yahweh will give them enough strength to continue this war for 3.5 years without them being wiped out. Yet many will be killed. He himself will give them not only the knowledge and the understanding, but he will also give them strength to fight. They're not going to have the weaponry like the Beast Empire. They're coming with technology. But these ones, now they're coming with swords. But they're also coming with the strategies of Alahayam Yahweh. And they will inflict some damage, not a lot, but some damage, enough damage to cause the Gentiles, the ones now that want to rise up against the beast too, but they don't have the power. They don't have the know-how. So they're going to want to go and join up with the northern kingdom. They want to cleave to them with flatteries. They're going to you know what? We recognize that you people are the people of the Most High, and we want to help you fight this battle. We're going to do everything that you say to do. You're awesome people. You're wonderful people. We've always loved you, Negroes. That's what they're going to say. We always loved you, you know. Yes, you were unfairly treated in this world, but we always loved you. We always thought that you were special people. Really. When it comes to their lives, no, hanging in the balance, no, all of a sudden they want to cleave to the Negroes. All right? And this is how the ones that belong to Allah Hayam Yahweh will be preserved, because of them cleaving, not only the ones preserved by Allah Hayam Yahweh, or that belong to Allah Hayam Yahweh, but the other ones too that don't belong to anybody. They don't belong to the beast, yet they don't want to believe in Allah Hayam Yahweh. They just want to live as they've always lived. All right? But there, you know, they're going to be killed off. A lot of them are going to be killed off. Let's continue on. The northern kingdom will wage war against the two beasts, while at the same time, I read that already, sorry. Although many will fall due to this war, Allah Hayam will help them. Otherwise, these beasts will annihilate them, because it hasn't happened yet. All right? And yet many of the Gentiles who will also want to fight against these beasts, but will not have the strength to do so, will cling to the northern kingdom, as Allah Hayam will give his people some strength to fight. The strength to fight and to keep on fighting. until he brings a halt to this war. Daniel chapter 11, verse 35 now. And some of them of understanding shall fall to try them and to purge and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed. And this is the particular verse that allows us to know that the previous verses from verse 32 and from I think up to 30, it could be 37 or 38, that these particular verses are speaking about the end times, the time of the end. That's what the end times are. Time of the end. For a time appointed. That has not happened in the time of the four generals of Alexander, but will be happening in the distant future. All right? So this entire verse speaks volumes because it lets us know that the northern kingdom brethren that will understand who they are and who Allahayam is to them will die. They will be martyred, as Allahayam had promised the martyrs of the southern kingdom under the altar when the fifth seal was opened. So remember the fifth seal, when Hamashiach broke it, Yehochanan, John saw the souls under the altar, and they cried out, "How long will you avenge our blood on the earth?" And then white robes were given to them, and they were told that they need to wait just a little while until their fellow servants, which are also their brethren, die as they have and have been fulfilled. That's not verbatim, but it is an essence of what the scripture said. All right? So when the fifth seal opened up, it showed the southern kingdom martyrs. Those were the martyrs of the southern kingdom that are waiting there to receive their rewards. All right? Their special rewards, and to be resurrected to life. And they were told that they need to wait there until their fellow brethren, which would be the northern kingdom on the earth, die as they have died, meaning martyred. So that's why the fifth seal, although it showed what occurred in heaven, is directly connected to what will be happening on the earth, which will be the martyrdom of the northern kingdom. Even though there are many that will cling to Allahayam Yahweh and worship him, many of them will die. Many of those that believe in him will die. There's a number of martyrs of the northern kingdom that must be fulfilled. And this is how Allahayam is going to cause that number to be fulfilled, through this war. All right? The northern kingdom must be purged with this war, just like the southern kingdom will be purged by the 3 days of darkness. Once again, the southern kingdom will not ever see another war. We will not have to fight in any other wars. We have fought wars for thousands of years. The northern kingdom have been living happy up in there in Africa. All right? We have gone through slaveries after slavery after slavery for generations, until where we are today, living in the lands of our captivity, the lands where we were born in captivity. Even though we will not see another war, Allahayam is going to purge out the rebels amongst us through the 3 days of darkness. There's going to be a dividing line that will be drawn. Why? Because the southern kingdom had generations to get their act together by passing on the correct information to their children. Okay, fine. We were born in captivity. We didn't know any better. But now we are here. And we have Ruach HaKadosh. And we have the prophecies. We are without excuse. We also have access to the blood that was shed on the stake by the Son of the Most High, that will cleanse us of all unrighteousness, that will atone us, so that we can begin our journey, our spiritual journey to Al Hayam, Yahweh. We are without excuse. All right? We have it. We have all the components needed to make us, to place us in right standing with Al Hayam Yahweh. And this is the reason why the 3 days of darkness must come, because it will separate and sift out the wicked from the righteous. The wicked ones will die. They will not be given any more opportunities to get their act together. This is it. The life that we're living here on the earth right now, this is our opportunity. This is our time to get it right. When the 3 days of darkness comes, the curtain closes for the southern kingdom. And then Al Hayam is going to turn his attention to the northern kingdom. The southern kingdom, the righteous remnant, will have light in their homes. Just like our forefathers when they were in Goshen, they had light in their homes. But the light that we're going to have is the glory of Al Hayam. That has to start within us. You see, if we don't have the light shining within us, how can there be light in our homes? He said we are to be like a light on a hill, not hidden under a bushel. So that light is the revelation, the understanding, the knowledge, all that has to do with Al Hayam Yahweh burning within us, because we are obedient. We're living obediently to all that he says to do. And so when the darkness comes, it will have no effect on us whatsoever. And that light within us that's already there will only shine brighter to become the light in our homes. The glory that will surround us. We wouldn't even recognize this darkness out there. And for 3 days and 3 nights, Al Hayam is going to prepare us for the final journey. And in the meantime, the wicked will be destroyed. I did a study on that called the 3 days of darkness, a whole slew of studies. I think about 10. All right, I think I'm working on another one too. And the northern kingdom, when they are awakened, they too need to be purged. They need to be separated, the righteous from the rebellious. And the way how he's going to do it is through this war. Many will not want to leave to go on the Exodus. They're the ones going out on the Exodus. But many are not going to want to leave. So they're going to be killed off right there on the spot. And then the ones that are with the righteous fighting in the war, they're fighting so that they can stay in their homes. They too are going to be killed off. And then the righteous ones, to fulfill the martyrdom, the number of the martyrs, like the southern kingdom, they too will perish. And then a remnant of the northern kingdom will begin their exodus. But there will still be a couple amongst them that will be straddling the fence. The Al Hayam will slough them off bit by bit. I did a study on that. Okay, so let's move on now. We know that this prophecy is set for the distant future based on what it says, even to the time of the end. That's the end times, because it is yet for a time appointed. So there's a time appointed in the end times when all these particular verses will come alive. Now let us look at more characteristics of this evil beast man, as we have established that this portion of prophecy in Daniel is set for the end times, and it is about the anti-Messiah and the war against the northern kingdom. Okay? Daniel chapter 11 verse 36. And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak marvelous things against Alahayam of gods. And when he say marvelous, he's not talking about great things. Well, they would say great things, but he's not talking about good things. Marvelously evil, marvelously wicked, and shall prosper till the indignation be accomplished, meaning his time of wicked reigning comes to an end. The time of his wickedness comes to an end. So there's a time appointed too for the beast empire, this beast empire number 7, and this anti-Messiah to reign on the earth. For that is determined shall be done. Alahayam has already determined it. He's determined the timing for each and every one of these wicked, evil entities. And when their time is up, it is up. Look at the empires that were before. We had the Babylonian Empire. When it was time for that empire to come to a close, he caused another empire to rise up, which was the Medes and Persians, to conquer the Babylonian Empire. Even though the Babylonian Empire was a massive empire and it was powerful, but Alahayam raised up the Medes and Persians to war against the Babylonian and conquer them. He can do that. And he did the same thing with the Greeks. When the Medes and Persians, their time was fulfilled, he caused the Greek Empire to rise up against them. And when their time was up, when the Greek Empire time was up, he caused the Romans to come in and conquer them. He can raise up kingdoms, and he can also destroy them. Every kingdom on this earth has a time appointed. Everything that you see happening on this earth is by appointment. Nothing happens without the permission from Alahayam Yahweh. And if it's not appointed to do so, he will not permit it. He will not allow it. And they can't do anything about that. They have to obey. Verse 37. Neither shall he regard the gods of his father, nor the desire of women, nor regard any god, for he shall magnify himself above all. And that alone shall let us see that the people that they are claiming to be the anti-Messiah today cannot be the anti-Messiah. Okay? He will not regard the God of his father. So he descended from an old family that worshiped some demon, some devil. He's not going to care anything about that devil, because he himself is a devil. So why would he want to bow down and worship another devil? Think about that for a second. Nor the desire of women. The people that they're claiming are the anti-Messiah today. They're married with children, even though the children might not be theirs, but they're married with. Okay, for the one in the Vatican, he's not married, but he's not loved either. He's hated by many people. When this anti-Messiah comes, he's going to be loved. We're going to get into that in a bit. This one, you look at him, there's nothing on him that will cause you to want to listen to him. If you got a brain cell in your brain box, you look at him and he's pure evil. When you look at this anti-Messiah, even though he is going to be pure evil, he is going to be able to charm people. We're going to look at that in a bit. It's going, yes, I'm speaking ahead of myself. Nor regard any God for that matter, for he shall magnify himself above all. That's the reason why he will not bow down to any gods. Any gods of his fathers, meaning his forefathers, the family lineage that he came from, nor anyone that is on the earth today, because he himself will present himself to the world as a god. After all, he is possessed with a Satan. So why would a Satan bow down to another Satan? Yes, they're all in cahoots together to bring corruption upon the earth, but when it comes now to worship, he's not going to be bowing down to the image of the beast empire. He himself is a god. Verse 38 explains this. But in his estate shall he honor the God of forces. What does that sentence mean? Because the devil within him, the Satan within him, will be the one that he will worship. He is the God of forces because that Satan gives him the power to be anti-Messiah. All right? And the God whom his fathers knew not shall he honor with gold and silver and with precious stones and pleasant things. What is this God? Who is this God that his fathers never knew or knew not? Him. He's going to honor himself with gold and silver and precious stones and pleasant things. Himself. He's going to be the latest, the newest kid on the block, the newest Satan, the newest God on the block. His fathers didn't know him as a God. But he's going to be adorned in gold and silver and precious stones and beautiful things. Because he's going to decorate himself to be like the God of gods. Him. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory. And he shall cause them to rule over many and shall divide the land for gain. Now, at first glance, you might think he might divide the land of Yasha'al for gain, but no, this has to do with the earth. And this is the reason why he is in the background right now, divvying up the land, the earth, and putting things in place. The personality and character of this king, of this beast king, is quite clear. He will be haughty, prideful, self-indulgent, filled with self-praise, and he will hate Allah Hayam. This host body will come from one of the old money families, but he will not serve their God, as he already has himself or proclaim himself to be like a god. The God of forces which he will honor will be the Satan that he will be possessed by, who will give him great power. Therefore he will worship himself. Isn't that what happened to Lucifer? He worshiped himself. Instead of worshiping Al-Hayam, he turned the worship upon himself. He will be the God that his fathers knew not, and he will relish gold, silver, precious stones, and pleasant things. For as long as he acknowledged the Satan within him through pagan practices, he, the anti-Messiah, will grow in power to be like a god. He will become the strange God that his fathers never knew. He himself. This anti-Messiah is already on the scene, but working in the background and abiding his time to rise up. He will divide up the earth into 10 territories and establish the 10 kings over these territories. Although he will dethrone 3 of them to take their territories for himself. And we looked at that in the study of the 10 kings coming up. This internal struggle amongst him and the kings will be Allahayam's doing to destabilize this kingdom, even though it will be a powerful empire. You see, he's going to be insecure as a leader. And he's going to want to control not 1 territory, but 3. And there's a reason why. That's coming up. Now that we have looked at the personality and character of this anti-Messiah, can you see anyone on this earth currently fulfilling these points? Not one. Not one person. He will love himself so much that he will not have a need for a woman. And this will include a wife. He will have no desire for women because he is going to be so in love with himself. He has no desires for women. He will be single, suave, effeminate, as he will possess both qualities of male and female. He's going to be flamboyant. And he's going to dress as such. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of those people that walking around with a beard and makeup on. He will be highly intelligent, charismatic, fluent in a number of languages, cunning, affluent, meaning very rich, and excellent orator with no need of a teleprompter. So when the cameras turn to him and he starts to speak, the people on the earth are going to be be under his spell. They will feel safe when he speaks, because he will speak with such power and persuasion and flatteries, and they would believe him. Why not believe him? Because just looking at him, he looks like a leader, he talks like a leader, he acts like a leader. So why not believe him? Look at the leaders today. They're buffoons. You got the one there from in the Korean country that used to be some cross-dresser. Probably still is. Walking around on heels. And I mean, how can anyone accept someone who dances around in high heels? It'll be different if he had a common sense, but he has no sense whatsoever. But this one here, even though he might be walking around in high heels like a woman, he's going to be posh. And at the same time, extraordinarily intelligent. And that's why people will overlook how, well, I'm looking for the correct word, not flaky. He's not going to be flaky, but he's going to be not quirky, but he's going to be eccentric because of the way how he will dress, how he will present himself. Even though he is eccentric, he is polished and posh. Not like these buffoons that you see walking about the place. And on top of that, okay, we're going to get to that in the next sentence. And he's going to be able to speak. And when he speaks, it's like listening to honey dripping from his lips. Sweet. And people are going to be in awe that he will speak, and words will just flow from his lips. And all of a sudden you feel so calm and relaxed and confident that he knows what he is doing. All right? Not like these idiots that you see standing in front of the cameras and hemming and hawing and forgetting words and saying foolish things. No, he's not going to be like that at all. He's not going to be like that at all. And this is the reason why people will run to him, meaning the anti-Messiah, because after years upon years of listening to these buffoons and how they speak and how they're running the countries, people then will be ready for this anti-Messiah, because he's going to come with such pizzazz and power. And he knows what he's about. He's not afraid to speak his mind confidently. Physically, he will be striking, attractive to both men and women, so striking that he will win the hearts of people with this Guy Smiley smile. Remember, Sesame Street had this puppet called Guy Smiley? And Guy Smiley, when he smiled, a sparkle came from his teeth. Oh, some things comes back to my mind when I do some of these videos. But he's going to be a Guy Smiley. He's always going to be smiling. And he's going to be so handsome, so attractive. Look at these buffoons today. You see any attractiveness about them? Huh? Nothing. And that's how he's going to win the hearts of people, both men and women. He's going to be, because he's so effeminate, and already the world is converting, transforming men to be effeminate. You still have some real men out there, but they're called toxic males. But he is going to this world now. This is the reason why this world is programming men to be in touch with their feminine side, to dress in dresses and carry a pocketbook and wear heels and pantyhose. Right? Not to mention the fact that they've put stuff in the food and water to cause there's a certain chemical in their body that assists in their masculinity that is depleting. And what is increasing is the feminine stuff. All that is to help the world along to become, men in the world to become effeminate in order to accept this creature. Because imagine if you had real men looking at this creature, they wouldn't even want to see him. They'll be appalled. And the real men that will be in the world at that time, which will be mostly the northern kingdom and a few of the Gentiles, will be appalled by him. He's too effeminate. Too effeminate. But he will win the hearts of the men on this earth and the women, of course, because, he's in touch with his feminine side. Oh, I just love him. He will understand me. And this is what is coming. As you look at the buffoons in politics, can any of them fit within one of these qualities I've listed? Not one of them. All right. We have here, Obama is not the anti-Messiah. The Pope is not the anti-Messiah. Trump is not the anti-Messiah. Trump's son-in-law is not the anti-Messiah, to name a few of the people chosen for this position. When he arises, the world will sit up and pay notice. He will be that striking. And the reason why these characters that I've listed, and that's just a few, why they cannot be the anti-Messiah is because there's too much hatred, too much negative publicity concerning them. You can't have a leader where just as many dislike him compared to the people who love him. When this anti-Messiah comes on the scene, everyone is going to love him. Not talking about the ones belonging to Allah Hayam Yahweh. I'm talking about the people now, the rest of the people in the world. And that will be the greater majority of the people by this time. All right? But right now, as you see it, there are a lot of controversies concerning these people. A lot of talk, negative talk. And already people have decided, I don't want anything to do with this person. No, they cannot be the anti-Messiah. When the anti-Messiah comes, it will be at the right time when the world is going to be crying out for a leader. All right? And he will fit the position, and he will fulfill the needs of the people, what the people will be looking for as a leader. People will be sick and tired of these buffoons that they're being given as a leader or as leaders. Tired of these foolish ones that can't even speak a sentence with sensibility. The world will be ripe and ready for a strong leader equipped with intelligence, charisma, well-spoken, well-bred, affluent, well-dressed, beautiful to behold, beautiful in body and face, everything. He wouldn't stumble over one word, neither would he stammer. His speech is going to flow like silk from his lips. And he'll know just what to say, when to say it, and how to say it. And the world will hang on his every word because he will come with hope. Hope that they are desperately looking for, and he will provide it. You see any of these buffoons today giving any words of hope to this world? No. And when he rises up, you will know who he is. But for right now, he has no name, no face, just character, just personality. And it's intended to be that way because he's going to be a fresh face, a beautiful face nonetheless, but a fresh face. A face that people will want to trust because he smiles so beautifully. All right? People will sit up and pay notice because he will be that striking. All right? So that's the ending of this particular study that goes hand in hand with the study about the anti-Messiah to give you deeper insights as to who this character will be based on Dana Ya'al's description of this king that is coming in the times of the end, a time appointed. All right? So with that, we're going to end with the blessing for Yashwa'al, taken from Ba Madabar, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. That's the book of Numbers, chapter 6, verses 24 to 26. Yabarakak Yahweh wa Yashamarak. May Yahweh bless you and keep you. Ya'ar Yahweh panayo alayak wa yachanak. May Yahweh cause his face to shine upon you and have favor upon you. Yasha'a Yahweh panayo alayak wa yasham lak shalom. May Yahweh lift up his face upon you and give you peace. And now I'm going to recite the command that we were commanded to recite when we lie down, when we get up, when we go out, and when we come in, taken from the Barayam chapter 6 verses 4 and 5, and that is Deuteronomy chapter 6 verses 4 and 5. Shama o Yashwa'al, Yahweh Allah Hayano, Yahweh Ahad, wa Ahabaf Af, Yahweh Allah Hayak, Bakal Babak, Ubakal Napashat, Ubakal Ma'adak. Hear, O Yashwa'al, Yahweh our Allah Hayam is one Yahweh, and you shall love Yahweh your Allah Hayam with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And with that, I will say, Shalom, Shalom. All praises to the Most High. Abba Yah.